My name is Phoebe. I live in Alabama, but last year I lived in Florida. The second sentence is in the past tense. The past tense tells about things that happened yesterday, last week, last year, or long time ago. There are many forms of past tenses. Today, we are going to learn how to use the past simple. The past simple is used for things that have finished. The rule to make a sentence in the past simple is to take the infinitive verb, that is, the verb in its simplest form, and add ed. Hold on, what is an infinitive verb? Let's look at some examples. Here is the verb look. In grammar books, we often see verbs written like this: to look, to talk, to see, to help. The infinitive is just the verb on its own without the to. Sometimes verbs have endings like s or ed. So you will see looks or looked, talks or talked. These are not infinitives. To get an infinitive, you must take off the s, ed, or any other ending so that you only have the verb and nothing extra. Let's look at some examples of how to make the past simple. Remember, you just want the infinitive and then you add ed. I walk. The infinitive of walk is walk. Now add ed to get walked. Another example is he passes. The infinitive of passes is pass. Now add ed to get passed. Yesterday, he passed his exams. Let's look at one more. She works. The infinitive of works is work. Now add ed and you get worked. Phoebe worked in a shop when she lived in Florida. There are a few very important exceptions to this rule, or we could say, this rule doesn't always work. So when doesn't this rule work? When the infinitive already ends in e. If the infinitive already ends in e, you do not add ed, but just the d. For example, she changes the nappy. The infinitive of changes is change. Change ends in an e. To make this past simple, only add d. She changed the nappy. The next exception is when the infinitive ends in a consonant preceded by one vowel. Do you know what a consonant is? A consonant is a letter that is not a vowel. The vowels are a, e, I, o, and u. For instance, the word stop. Stop ends in the consonant p. The p is preceded by one vowel, o. To put stop in past simple, we have to double the last consonant and then add ed. So, I stop. Yesterday, I stopped. To plan is the same. To use it in past simple, we say planned. I planned a trip to New York last year. The next exception is when an infinitive ends in C. In this case, you add KED. For example, the word panic. Panic ends in C. To make it past simple, you add KED. So, they panic. Yesterday, they panicked. The last exception is when the infinitive ends in Y. When an infinitive ends in Y and you want to put it in past simple, the Y turns into an I and then add ed. For example, she carries. The infinitive of carries is carry. Carry ends in a Y. First, turn the Y into an I. Then add ed. Yesterday, she carried the suitcase to the airport. Now that you know how to form past simple, you need to know when to use it correctly. Use past simple when something has happened in the past and has finished. For example, a few years ago, I worked in the supermarket. I used to work there in the past, but I don't anymore. Use past simple. Also, use past simple when you indicate a time that is in the past. For example, we lived in Holland in 1991. 1991 is a time in the past. Use past simple. Also, use past simple when you express a habit in the past. For example, I collected stamps when I was a child. The habit was to collect stamps. The habit was there for a while, but I no longer have that habit now. Use past simple. Lastly, use past simple when you tell a story. Once upon a time, there was a farmer who lived in a small village. You can see with all these uses, past simple is always about something that is completely finished. Remember that. It is very important. Have a look at the grammar sheet and try some exercises to make sure you really understand it.